Pushpika. Today we are going to discuss about business research, qualitative analysis. This is week 7. So we are going to talk about how to conduct qualitative analysis in case of business research proposals and business research projects. So before we start the discussion, I will explain about the assignments which is due in December. So we have to write 2,400 words research to be submitted by 13th December. So this discussion will be helpful for that. So we are talking about qualitative data that we collect through interviews, focus groups, observations, and through different documents. In research process, we are using this research onion introduced by Saunders. Mark Saunders came up with this research onion where there's a research philosophy and the whole process and research methods are explained. So in the outer skin of the onion, it explains the research philosophy. Positivism, critical realism, interpretivism, likewise, there are different philosophies. So that is explained in the outer skin. And then the approach to theory development, whether it is deductive method, inductive method, that is explained in the second layer. And when it comes to the third layer, it talks about methodological choice, whether it is mixed method complex, mono method qualitative. Likewise, there are different methods that is explained in the third layer. And then in the fourth layer, it explains strategies, different ways and means of conducting research like experiments, surveys, archival research, case study. Likewise, there are different methods that is explained in the next layer. And then the time horizon in the next layer. And finally, data collection and data analysis is explained. We are talking about methodological choice in this slide. We have quantitative method, we have qualitative method. Depending on our topic, depending on our approach, we can select that to be quantitative research or qualitative research. And we can use both as well. Sometimes numbers and figures are used. At the same time, we will do lots of descriptions, analysis, and exploration. So you can call it mixed method research, mixed method approach. So what is qualitative research? In qualitative research, you're trying to explore something. You're trying to develop more idea about some phenomenon, some concept, some idea. So you are trying to explore something, find more information about your research problem to find answers for that. The goal of qualitative research is the development of concepts which helps us to understand social phenomenon in natural settings. In the real setting, we are trying to explore our knowledge, explore the ideas to find out more concepts, more details, more explanations. It is kind of exploration. So in qualitative research, we collect lots of data, lots of information, lots of explanation. Using methods like thematic analysis, we will analyze them. And this is well suited. This method is well suited when we need more description, more interpretation, and more explanation. Qualitative research is consistent with the notion of theory building as an act of sense making. When we need to make theories, when we need to develop more concepts, qualitative research is ideal in that kind of situations. Qualitative research is suitable when the phenomenon is poorly understood, uh, when the local grounding and the contextualization is important, when there is a need to observe and record organizational or human processes, when there is a need for interpretations of people involved matters, then qualitative research is more important and more relevant. How do we do qualitative research? So in the first place, we develop some idea, we find some problem, we find some knowledge gap, information gap. So we will do further research, some preliminary research to study that problem, to develop the um, problem statement, to come up with the research questions. We use some literature, we do some preliminary literature review, and then after developing our research questions, after articulating the research objectives based on the questions, we will go into literature review. So we study whatever the research knowledge which is already existing in the academia. So then we design our project, we design the methodology, we decide on the samples, we think of how to collect the data from these samples. So then we go ahead with the research with data collection. And when the data is collected, we have to organize them, we have to analyze them, we have to interpret them, and then based on that we do our research report writing, and finally after the analysis we can develop some concepts based on the research outcome. So there are different methods, qualitative research methods. So there are different features: focus, type of research, discipline, unit of analysis, data collection and data analysis. Research design usually used by the qualitative research methods. There are different methods like historic view, grounded theory, case study. Um, so if you take historical review under qualitative methods, historical reviews are to describe what happened in the past so that we can understand the present and plan the future. So this is the historical review. And there is another important way of doing qualitative research, that is grounded theory. It is a method, it's not a theory, that allows you to develop new concepts based on data. After you do the data collection, after studying that, you're going back and forth and you understand that there are certain new concepts that you can develop according to the findings. So in this type of research, in this type of method is called grounded theory in qualitative research. So as I said, you go back and forth in between concepts, themes, and dimensions to see whether there are some new concepts that you can discover. And in this discovery, you can't totally disagree with whatever the literature you have found already, but you will compare and contrast and do the analysis and talk about your new findings as well. But you don't disregard the literature you found earlier. Whatever the body of knowledge which is existing can be considered to compare and contrast with your findings if it is different, but you have to do the comparison and the evaluation without disregarding the current literature. And there is another interesting method, which is case study. When it comes to case study, you find a context for your research. um, in case study, a real-time phenomenon is explored within its naturally occurring context. So in the natural context, you are trying to understand some idea, phenomenon, some discussion will be continued in that. So, in the real situation, you're trying to study something, you're trying to explore something. So, this can be a single case, this can be multiple case. There are different types of case studies. The case study method depends upon the type of study. If your study is very, very inductive, if you need more explanation, then you will stick to single case study. If you need more general explanations, but if you are having inductive approach, you will use a multiple case study method. If you have if you're using a deductive approach for generalizations, then the case study method will not be recommended. It will be less important. In single case study, you select one context, one case, one place, one company. Then you're trying to understand your phenomenon, you're trying to explore, you're trying to conduct your study in that one place to find out your answers. Usually, this case is an extreme or unique case that you cannot explain some observations related to this case using existing theories. You're trying to understand certain things may be related to existing theories in that one place. Comparative case study is the other method. Comparative case studies are used to ask or study the same question in number of organizations. You raise one question in series of organizations to generalize your answer. The purpose is to compare the phenomenon in different contexts. So you have a systematic way of conducting research in many places, many organizations to generalize your findings. Multiple case studies is in contrast with single case study. You are conducting your research in couple of cases, couple of um, companies, couple of contexts, couple of situations to explore more knowledge. So, theory building from cases is centered on theory that is testable, generalizable, logically coherent, and empirically valid. So, to test the empirical validity, you are conducting the research in many case contexts, many organizations. There are different strategies for case selection, like critical case, comparative cases, criteria-based cases, heterogeneous cases, homogeneous cases, typical cases, snowball case selection. So likewise, there are different strategies. Now, in qualitative research, when you collect your data, mainly mostly we use thematic analysis. So you understand the themes to conduct your analysis. Thematical analysis is a method of analyzing qualitative data. It is usually applied to a set of texts, such as interview or transcripts. The researcher closely examines the data to identify common themes, topics, ideas, and patterns of meaning that come up repeatedly. So, when there are certain themes repeated over and over again in the questionnaires and the transcripts, you will find them as main themes to be finalized. So, this is called thematic analysis. You have to conduct thematic analysis uh, when you want to analyze qualitative data. Thematic analysis is a good approach to research where you are trying to find out something about people's views, opinions, knowledge, experiences, or values from a set of qualitative data. When we interview people, either we note down their answers or they will fill the questionnaires and hand it over. Either way, when you have qualitative information, we are using thematic analysis to analyze them to find the themes to proceed with the analysis. This is the approach of thematic analysis. First of all, you try to get familiar with the data. So you may be having 200 or 2000 questionnaires filled. You may be having some notes collected, written down after discussing with many people. So you try to get familiar with that data already recorded or collected. Then you start coding them like I have shown here. So certain words are repeated so that you will code with the same color so you will be able to understand it, find it easily and clearly. Then you started generating themes. So this is how I have shown you how the themes are identified. Theme 1, uncertainty. Theme 2, distrust of experts. Theme 3, misinformation. Likewise, we generate themes. And then we review themes. We review each and every theme to understand what they mean by that. Then we define and we name the themes and we do the analysis based on those themes. When we do the write-up, we use this thematic analysis to review the qualitative information gathered and recorded in our research. So this is about qualitative analysis, qualitative data collection in case of research. So hope you understood everything and we'll catch up with the next lesson. Thank you so much.